Hey guys, so I just wanted to talk to you about the Stasis Glycol Chiller that I got from Craft the Brew that I funded on Kickstarter a while back. I've actually had my first opportunity to test this thing out on a batch of beer, and it was the Imperial Blonde Ale that I brewed on the Clawhammer system about 3 weeks ago. So let's talk a little bit about it, to give it a little breakdown on it. First of all, let's talk about the tubing and the insulator that you put around the tubing. That thing was a little bit of a challenge to get the tubing into. I did find a way that worked where I would actually push the tubing in some, and then I would just kind of hold the tubing in place inside the sleeve, just by pinching it in place, sliding the tubing on more, and then pulling and then letting off. And then as I got close to the end, I would take a pin, like a regular ballpoint pen, shove it inside the tubing at the end and just kind of help pull it through by pushing into the tubing and then pulling the tubing before the pin would pop loose. Anyways, it was a challenge to get it in there. It was a bear, but I did get the tubing in the sleeve, and the sleeves worked very well for keeping condensation down while the beer fermented. Another thing is connecting it to the back of the system was a no-brainer. Basically put the little clamps on, screw them down, tubing hooks on the back. And then for the fermenter, I just hooked the tubing onto the end of my Blickman chill coil barbs, and it worked out great for me. And there was no issues there at all, no leakage anywhere. I was very, very happy with the way things went. It does have a little noise to it. Sounds like an air conditioning unit. It's about the same decibels as a standard window unit air conditioner, because I think it's almost technically the same thing, because there's a compressor in there. It makes what you would expect the sound. It's noisy in the sense that you would expect it to be. I wouldn't have this in your bedroom or anywhere where you're trying to sleep, unless you don't mind the sound of an air conditioning unit kicking on and off as it needs to. As far as fermentation goes, it got my beer temp down, it got my work temp down from 85 degrees to 68 degrees in about 10 minutes. So it was very, very efficient on getting that temperature down quick so that I could pitch my yeast. In my other cooling methods, I usually had to pitch the yeast the next day. I like that this did not allot for time for any risk of infection by allowing me to pitch my yeast fairly quickly and right away. I did do a crash cool with it. I brought it from 63 degrees down to 45 degrees in about an hour. It took about an hour to go from about 63 to 45 degrees. And that's understandable, because the colder you get, the more it has to work. So I was completely fine with that, and it still got my beer down to a cold crash temp in a timely fashion. So I was just very pleased with that. And also, for the Glycol Mixture, pretty straightforward. It was a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 parts to 1 part. So it was a 1.5 liter final mix that you're going to pour into this thing. So I mixed 2 parts of distilled water to 1 part of glycol. So I used 2 half liters of water to half a liter of glycol. It doesn't use much glycol at all. I got a big old jug of glycol and I barely used any of it. So if I have to throw some out, it's not a big deal because I have plenty of it. It's food grade glycol, so it's very environmentally friendly. So you don't have to worry about that. You're not putting antifreeze in this or anything like that. You don't want to put anything in this but food grade glycol, because if it ever got in the beer for some strange way or reason, whatever, you don't have to worry about ingesting it and dying or getting really sick. So overall, this thing has been fantastic. I'm planning on lagering with it next with a Bock beer that I'm going to brew on the Clawhammer here soon, and I will be videoing that. But I just wanted to take the time to kind of do a quick review of the Stasis Glycol Chiller. It's been a fantastic system, and I highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for a glycol system at this price point. It's about $700, I think it's like $700, $750 price point on the market. I got it for around 600 on the Kickstarter, but still, you got to look at this as it's potentially 2 glycol chillers because it will control the temperature of 2 separate vessels at 2 separate, complete different temperatures. So you really have to look at it as like 2 chillers, and that's a steal of a deal to have 2 glycol chillers. You can ferment 2 batches of beer at once, and it works really well. And the Blickman coils, they worked really well with it, and I'm very pleased with it. So anyways, I hope this review was helpful for any of you on the fence about getting one. I would highly recommend you go get one if you can afford to get one. If you're getting into glycol, you kind of already have the money to do so. If you're still doing bottles and everything, clearly it's not time yet for you to invest in one. But if your beer hobby carries on for years, this will probably be the best thing for you, because you don't have to worry about temperature issues or anything. You just set it and forget it, basically. So I hope this has been helpful, and cheers.